self-aggrandizing. Why something needs to be done wrong and stupid? Why was something need to be done wrong and stupid? The arc stuff's going to come together, I believe, at some point. And True Brit News. So I've got to explain something. You see, it looks to me, you English people are fucking stupid. Thick motherfuckers. And when I say English, Englishness is an attitude. It's not a culture. British has become that way too. Just by virtue of the ish and the consequence of time too, and the amounts of people that are lay claim to the title or to the heritage that Britons on the land of Albion, or Albion, on these islands, have absorbed themselves into and recreated in their own image. Right, so I heard an interesting thing this very morning. I heard it happen last night actually. Trump's come out and said and announced. I mean, I'm gonna say it as it was presented. This is not what actually happened, but I'm gonna say, and we could all see what was happening, right? So Trump's announced that two things. One, paracetomol, bad for you, particularly for women that are in pregnancy. Okay? I don't know if he's made a link between that and autism, but I think he has actually. And the second thing was, he's saying that the multiple doses of vaccines, like the MMR as an example, that taking them all at once at such a young age is too much, it's bad for you. And he's saying unequivocally, don't do it. It's that bad. Right? Now, this was reported on GB News, and it's been, and on Sky too. Let's have a little flip through. You see, and where people start to fucking show themselves, show them blood clot underneath, show you what's underneath their skirts and their frocks and their gowns, is when they start saying things. Well, after they brought their experts on, they're saying things like the commentators or the reporters or the people on behind the... They're saying, whoa, what does Trump know? He's not a doctor. And I thought, you bitches, do you not remember how many non-experts there were telling us to go and take the jibby jabs? To take the Britney Spears. Do you remember? All of them. That Hancock, whatever his name was. He was having a medical breakdown. What are you talking about? And if you look closely at his interview, he brings on RFK Jr., who's the head of the Health and Human Services Department for the whole of America, who has sought advice from medical professionals, medical researchers, to come up with their data. Do you think he would not? Mind you, don't get me wrong, we did it over COVID. You know what I mean? Went against the medical advice, and there's lots of it out there. People were ignoring it for their own ends. So yes, I suppose people would be confused about what it is that Donald Trump is saying. Yeah, and I can kind of get it. It's going to be some cognitive dissonance in there. But what I can say for sure is that in terms of vaccines and their impacts upon the immune system, talking about that well before COVID, talking about that since the 80s, late 80s, you know, with any degree of awareness. And I've known about it since I was a child. Their vaccines ain't shit. They're not good for you. They give you, they have to give you the thing that they're trying to protect you from. You know, never made sense to me, and it seems as though it's not making a lot of sense to a lot of other people, because it seems we're hanging on to this idea that paracetamol is good for you. When you've seen somebody that has tried to overdose, and I say try because you've got to take a lot of them. You know, people try to overdose on paracetamol, not realising that one of the things that it does, it shuts down your fucking organs. That's one of the things that it does. It rots them. You know what I mean? That's why they stomach pump you. Anyway, I'm not saying I'm right about this, but that's just from my experience and from my observations, and some of that experience is professional. Working in residential, seeing kids take fucking overdoses with paracetamols. And I mean, so like, yes, I know this is, anyway, I've seen it with my own eyes. I've been there before, during and after the taking of paracetamol. So I recognise the conditions in which people were taking them. In that, people, and the reasons why they're doing it. I mean, that's a different thing altogether, and that's over, a very intense period. You know, people are determined to do something to themselves or draw attention to themselves. Anyway, so that's to do with paracetamol, but also the vaccines. I mean, Trump said, you're not saying don't take them. He's saying that he's not recommending that he takes them, based upon the evidence that's been provided to him by the head of Health and Human Services for the whole of America, who's taken advice from a wide range of sources that are connected to a lot of things, really. But I suspect that one of the issues, or one of the concerns that people are having now, is not actually about people's health or anything like that. It's about the implications of what it is that Donald Trump's saying. So people have moved to. So again, you're playing the man and not the ball. You're playing you're not listening to the message. You're just looking at the messenger. The messenger's sort of saying, look, mate, I've got my boys over here, they've gone and checked this shit out, you know what I mean? And this is what they found. And I can't, in all honesty, as the people have put him here, say that this shit's good for you. And we can see for ourselves it's not good for us. We've got loads of evidence. Where do you think all these illnesses have come from? But I informed you thusly, for my part. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that to be a bitch. You know what I mean? Or to be horrible. I'm just saying it because I need to say it. Because when a judgment is don't get me confused with no fucking messenger. I'm just providing you with messenger, and leave me the fuck out of your shit. You know what I mean? Just because you're all feeling ashamed, or because it affects pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, it affects clinical practitioners, doctors, nurses. Absolutely. And they've been pushing shit that they know they shouldn't have been pushing forever. Okay? For making shitloads of money, at the cost of people's health. Knowing what it is that they know about the impacts and effects. And if you didn't know, we should have done your fucking research. Because if I've known since the 80s and 90s, and actually in some respects since the 70s, and that's from personal experience, you can't tell me shit. You know what I mean? and also with the veracity with which, particularly over the pandemic, you know, the insistence that we take this shit, knowing full well this shit's not fucking good. You know, what is wrong with a people, with a government that does that kind of shit to you openly, and now is in the denial stage now that they're, you know, and it's, somebody said once said to me recently, it's been said a couple of times, that to the bitter end, these people they're not admitting shit to nobody. Okay. Crossings again. I hate it right there. Fucking. Bitch didn't want to stop there. Let's have a look at these two. You know, I always feel compelled to wave and say thank you, but it's not. I shouldn't be saying thank you to nobody. You should know to fucking stop. The zebra crossings there for pedestrians. You should know what it is that you need to do. You're just doing what you need to do. You don't need to be thanked every fucking time when you do something that you're supposed to do. Do what is right. You just do it. And that's one of the things about the English is that's not part of English culture anymore, at any rate. You know, it's not part of what we do. If you're doing something smart, there's a fee involved. Where's my goddamn money, you bitch? You know what I mean? I'm not doing nothing for you. I don't want, people won't even entertain you. You know, unless they feel they're going to get something from you. You know what I mean? Or you have to exchange something with them for the opportunity to engage with them. You know what I mean? If you want them to do something for you, you know, there's a fee involved. You know, and if it's all possible, there's a contract in the beginning to establish what's going to happen financially, or what recompense is going to be had for the time that I give to you. So, you know, we've turned into quite a malevolent society that is getting dumber and more stupid, and thereby committing more wrongs upon the self. And when I talk about the self, I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and relationally too, and then environmentally as well. You know, city centres are shitholes. You know, there are homeless people and there's rubbish up in Birmingham, and that's spreading up and down the place. Not too far from where I am, up in I think I can say it, Beeston. They've just managed to sort out something because they was in dispute with the local authority over the bin collection. Motherfuckers taking a piss, you know, saying we're not doing it. And now I have to sort of say this is all part of nudge theory too, actually, which somebody that I used to know reasonably well, I suppose, but not as well as I thought I did. That in the City Council of Nottingham City Council, they were dropping nudge theory back in the 2010s, 12 maybe, 13 maybe, I can't remember, but like 2010s, I'm sure it was. But as soon as he said it, I knew what he was talking about, and he talked about the bins then. He was also responsible, because he was in planning. So they had all this shit mapped out about what they were going to do for, you know, the road narrowing schemes and all that kind of stuff. They knew what they were going to do back then. And he came from out of town actually to come and work at the planning department. He used to boast and brag about being headhunted. But you know, those were the days, weren't they? But people knew that this shit, what we're experiencing now, was going to happen. That's the point that I'm making. And now people are having to, societies, cultures, all sorts, are now having to deal with the backlash of being misinformed about the things that they were doing. and also being found out for some of the things that they're doing, knowing that or feeling as though they would never get found out. Now they're going to get found out for their participation in not just the pandemic, but there's been pandemics over the centuries that they've implemented. What do you think the Black Death was, or the Great Plague of London? Those were state organised pandemics. Till the next time, may your ERP and your spirituality remain strong and gone.